This is Access Houston on 97.9 The Box.
Good Sunday morning. You're listening to Access Houston. I'm your host, KG Smooth. Welcoming back. It's been a while, but she is back here to let us know about the 2018 Houston, let me get the acronym right, the Houston Minority Suppliers Development Council's Business Expo. Ladies and gentlemen, the lovely Constance Jones. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
Good to see you.
Good to be seen.
Hey. So listen, tell us about HMSDC, because a lot of people may not be familiar with it, even though this is going to be like the 42nd annual expo that you all are having. So tell us about Houston Minority Suppliers Development Council.
The Houston Minority Supplier Development Council is an organization that facilitates relationships between major corporations and minority business owners. So we certify minority businesses, we develop them and help them make connections with corporate America, state agencies, and educational institutions.
Indeed. And how did you get involved with them?
Happenstance.
Tell us the story.
Yeah, so many years ago, I was working for a mid-level oil and gas company, took a severance package and was like, what am I going to do with myself? I went to a temp agency that's actually now owned by Carla Lane Staffing, and they placed me at HMSDC, and the rest is history. Shut
up. So it all started as a temp job.
It all started as a two-day temp.
A two-day temp. And now you basically running the joint.
I
know. Okay, yeah. Hey, you can keep it modest. So, tell us about the expo. It is happening this Wednesday and Thursday down at George R. Brown. What can people expect?
So, Expo is Texas's largest minority business trade fair. If people are really interested in looking at doing business with major corporations, government agencies, educational institutions, and finding resources that can really assist them with their company's growth and development, they should actually participate at Expo.
And what would you say would be the most important piece of information that people walk away with after attending the expo if they own a minority business?
Connections and contracts. So we are looking at making a lot of connections with the types of exhibitors that we have at the trade show this year. We are very excited because we're making history. This year, our corporate chair is the first African-American female deputy director of NASA, Vanessa Weish. So that alone is history making in itself, and should encourage you to be a part of this event. Absolutely.
And, 45 years of the organization, making connections, with minority business and corporate members. Walk us through what can people expect on Wednesday?
So when people come on Wednesday, they'll get a conversation with economist Patrick Jankowski from the Greater Houston Partnership. Talking about middle markets. So often our minority businesses are smaller firms that really don't have the capacity to do business with a Shell or a Chevron. So we're looking at how do we make sure that they are included in the supply chain of these major corporations. So we're looking at smaller corporate businesses that they'll be able to make immediate connections with. And so we'll be talking about that and having that candid discussion on Wednesday morning. Wednesday afternoon, we have a lunch where we're actually connecting those to Vanessa, who's, again, our chair. She's with the NASA Johnson Space Center. And we also have our prime chair, which is Ray-a-thon. And they're going to be talking about, again, how do you get minority businesses involved in the supply chain from a government perspective? And then when we open the show later that afternoon, you're going to be able to talk to both public and private sector as they're looking to find services and products from minority businesses.
Nice. You're listening to Access Houston. We're talking to Constance Jones from the Houston Minority Suppliers Development Council. The HMSDC Business Expo is happening this Wednesday and Thursday down at George R. Brown. As she just mentioned, history is going to be made as the first black female deputy director as chair. That's
pretty significant.
Yeah, and overdue.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But it shows you that we can continue to make strides as long as we stay in the game.
Yeah, indeed. Well, how do you feel about right now the current state of the market when it comes to minority businesses and where they are, because we've kind of seen a sort of a fluctuation kind of this year when it comes to, the market. 17 was pretty solid. If you let the Trump administration say it, all of this that is happening is because of them. We know it's not. But how do you feel about the current state of the market now?
So I think the market is rebounding, and we could actually see that as a trickle effect from the impact that oil and gas has on Houston, with it being oil and gas mecca. And so what you're starting to see now are more businesses that are able to compete in the open market. You're seeing more major corporations looking and willing to for innovation from minority businesses, as well as looking to diversify their supply chain. So that's encouraging for our businesses. But we're also seeing a lot of our state agencies kind of step up to the plate to look for diverse businesses to help them spend money right here in our own state. And that's what's really encouraging for us.
I know that this may be old, but you just sparked something, because I believe the last time you were here, we might have been around Super Bowl, where we were letting, minority businesses know about, the opportunities that they can have with the Super Bowl coming to Houston. How did that pan out do you know how that worked out for minority business? Were some of them able to get like those big contracts with folks that were coming in town for the Super Bowl, or, were they kind of left out? I mean, I know that the mayor was pushing it, you all were pushing it, and I don't think I ever heard like a progress report or the end result of that. Are you privy to that information?
Yeah, absolutely. They did a wrap-up study, and I don't know the exact figures, but you definitely can give us a call at the Houston Minority Supplier Development Council to get that information. But we did have a lot of businesses that were able to receive contracts as a part of the Super Bowl. And so that really did have a good influence in our economy. And what we're seeing as a result from that is that some of the smaller mid-sized firms that you traditionally don't see got business, and now they're growing and actually continuing to do business with the Super Bowl and the NFL franchise. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I mean,
Absolutely.
Can we be honest? I mean, come on, we built this country. We were booming. But I wish that we could recreate Black Wall Street. All over, because when we came together and we built our own and had our own, it was thriving so much so that they were so jealous that they had to kill and burn down Black Wall Street.
Absolutely.
And that's the only one that we know of. I wonder how many other Black Wall Streets were there around the country that we didn't know about, that probably, got burned down because some, jealous white people was like, how dare these N-words could come up and be doing better than me? No, we're not having this in this country. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you know what? That is a great segue and continuation in talking about how minority businesses need to support one another and do business with each other.
That's right.
Because we are the economic engine of the U.S. And without small businesses, there will be no business.
So I'm going to tell you this story real quick, Constance. When I was doing radio in Cincinnati back in the early 2000s, it was my very first radio station. And I remember like a few of the black club owners. There was some tiff about the liquor supply. And I believe one owner was like, yo, why don't we just get together and buy this liquor in bulk and then distribute it, throughout, our respective clubs or establishments. And he was trying to get that, and it didn't go down. And I remember being in one of the meetings, and somebody was like, see, this is why we're never going to get ahead, because we're not working together. It's like, look at this. Black folks spend the most money on black women spend the most money on hair and hair products. All these hair shops are owned by who? The Chinese. You know what the Chinese do? They get together, they buy all of this stuff in bulk, and then they, distribute it out. It's a way for them to save money. They're keeping the money within their own community. Like, there were so many great points, and I'm like, why can we not adopt that same philosophy?
And we have to do what you started the conversation with is by stepping to the table and being honest.
Hey.
And having that honest and clear conversation would definitely get us headed in a different direction.
Indeed. Constance, where can people get all the information that they need to know about the 2018 HMSDC? Ooh, what is
5 times fast.
Right. Right. No, you tried 5 times fast. The HMSDC Business Expo. Where can they get all the info?
You can go to our website at expo.hmsdc.org or give us a call at 713-271-7805.
All right, and save the date if you are a minority business owner looking to get these contracts. Wednesday and Thursday, September 19th and 20th. It's going down at George R. Brown. So be ready. Constance, it's so good to see you.
Good to be seen.
Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Good Sunday morning. You're listening to Access Houston. I'm your host, KG Smooth. With school has officially started. College classes have started. The kids are all back in school. And I have on the phone line all the way from Atlanta, Georgia. She's a public speaker, philanthropist, and just an all-around amazing woman with the Black Girl Magic. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the program, Stacey Lee. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you.
How are you?
You know what? I cannot complain. Not at all, especially not with an introduction like that.
Oh, and I really messed up because I forgot to say that you are the founder of the Terry and Sandra Lee Scholarship Foundation.
Yes.
Yes. So tell us about the foundation, Stacey.
So it's actually a scholarship fund that we give out every single year, my brother and I. It is for dual degree engineering students that attend Clark Atlanta University for their undergraduate degree, one of their undergraduate degrees, and then they also attend either Georgia Tech or a technical school of their choice. It's the dual degree program, which I did, attending Clark Atlanta and Georgia Tech, and my brother did the same program, attending Morehouse and Georgia Tech. So it was something we wanted to create in our parents' name in order to give back to our institutions.
Indeed, and that's a great thing, and I'm glad that you are pouring your resources into that. That is a big thing today. But you specialize in giving tips on these college kids that are entering college to stay in college. Information that you need to know about HBCUs. To run us the gamut on the services or how you help these college students.
Oh wow! I mean let's just start with our graduating seniors, those students that are about to graduate now. It's so important for them to start looking, even your junior year of high school, start looking for resources, start looking for scholarships that might, that you're able to apply for. I mean, there is so much money out there for scholarships. So I would really tell my seniors and even juniors to really start looking for those resources. You have to, I would challenge myself to apply for a scholarship at least, once a day or even once a week, and start now. So when you graduate next year, you are able to pay, for college. Attending college can be so expensive, especially with everything that's going on these days with, different types of budget cuts and things like that. But going to college is definitely something that is attainable for our Black and brown students. And of course, I am a fan of HBCUs. I attended HBCUs. My parents attended HBCUs. So I'm truly a fan of that, just because of the environment, because of the love, and because what the professors really pour into you, and being able to be taught by people that look like you. Right. I think that's so, so important. And for my current college students, it's important to really buckle down, maintain good attendance, take advantage of your school resources, visit your academic advisor regularly, and really stay connected to the school. Stay connected to your peers, stay connected to your teachers.
Indeed. You're listening to Access Houston. We're talking to the founder of the Terry and Sandra Lee Scholarship Foundation, Miss Stacey Lee, calling from Atlanta, giving us some tips on students that are just now entering college, some dropping the real gems on for our high school seniors and giving us some tips on these kids that are already in school to staying in college. What made you want to help out these students in navigating themselves financially, personally, spiritually through their journey in college?
Like I said, I attended Clark Atlanta University, and what my parents always instilled in us was, service is the rent you pay in order to live on this earth. So the service that I always saw my parents even doing was service in the education field. My mother is a teacher. She educates. My father was in the corporate arena, but he was one of the first people in corporate America at General Motors to give huge scholarship dollars to Morehouse, Spelman, and Clark Atlanta University, even before a number of corporations were really giving. So this is something that he really started doing like in the early 80s, late 70s. So I always saw how important it was to them to educate young people, and it was just something that I always enjoyed doing and knew I needed to do to make sure that our Black and brown kids understand that they can get an education and provide them with the tools necessary to be successful.
Nice. Now, with your love for HBCUs, I would be remiss if I didn't ask this question. Did you get to witness the incredible universal high of the greatest performance ever put on by anyone this past spring at Coachella with Beyonce?
Oh, come on.
Bigging up homage and showing to the HBCUs. Hey, did you get to watch it live?
When I tell you, first of all, I did not get to watch it live.
Okay.
But you know what? Even not watching it live, it just, I grew up in Jackson, Mississippi, so I always would go to Jackson State football games and watch the sonic boom of the South growing up. And it just took me back there. When she performed and gave homage to our HBCUs, to our bands, to our culture, to the way that we dance, the way we entertain. I mean, I just felt I was so proud in that moment. Like, unapologetically Black was what the stage was.
Yeah,
and that,
at the whitest music festival on earth. At the the biggest and widest music festival on earth, Beyonce, being the first Black woman to ever headline the festival, gives the most blackety black performance ever.
Yes. You could not beat that. And my HBCU prepared me for so much in life. It prepared me to be a business owner. I have multiple businesses. So, people say, well, did the HBCU really prepare you? And I'm like, absolutely it did. There's no doubt in my mind.
When I look back, I regret not going to an HBCU. If there's that one regret in life, it probably is that one, because my parents, my grandmother and my great aunt, they wanted me to go to Morehouse. At the time, I mean, I knew that Morehouse was all boys, and I was like, I'm not going there. They're like, well, Spelman is right across the street. Like, I just wasn't trying to hear that.
Right.
And so ended up going to the University of Cincinnati there. I was in the gospel choir. We were called the African American Cultural Research Center Choir. And every spring break, we would go on these two tours. One would be a Florida tour. One would be a Texas tour. And we always, when the week ended, like that last weekend of the spring break, we would always end it in Atlanta. And so my first time coming to the A and just feeling that energy of Black people running it from the mayor on down, and walking on the campus of Clark Atlanta, of Spelman and Morehouse, I was like, oh, why didn't I come to go to an HBCU?
It's never too late. Never too late to attend an HBCU.
Yeah, and I think
plenty of graduate programs.
Yeah. I just love how they do us. Just to underscore what you said earlier in the conversation, they teach you different. They teach you about you. and how to
Absolutely.
be. Yeah. I love that. You're listening to Access Houston, talking to Stacey Lee. She's a public speaker, philanthropist, keynote speaker. She's the founder of the Terry and Sandra Lee Scholarship Foundation. For those that are listening, do you have these tips for our college kids? Are they online or on social media somewhere where they can go back and reference?
You know what? I mean, honestly, most of these tips you can find just via even Google. I tell young people all the time, Google
is your friend.
Your best. It is your best friend. You can get so much information from Google. If you guys, the same amount of time that you spend on listening to music or playing games, if you did some Googling, I tell you, we would live in a different place.
Yeah, people will be a lot more informed and smarter, I would probably say. Indeed. Donna, where can people find you on social media and follow you?
I am Instagram at Stacey, Stacey Lee 32 on Instagram, and that's really the best way to follow me.
Indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, keynote speaker, philanthropist, public speaker, and founder of the Terry and Sandra Lee Scholarship Foundation, the lovely Stacey Lee. Thank you so much for calling into the program.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And thank you for listening to Access Houston.
We'll be back with more Access Houston on 97.9 The Box.